My dearest little one, it's time to snuggle in very close, as I have a most special story to whisper to you tonight. A story about friendship and courage, and a visitor from far, far away, under the gentle glow of the moon. This tale, you see, truly happened, in its own magical way. Imagine, if you will, a quiet, starlit night in a peaceful forest on Earth. High above, a magnificent spaceship, like a giant, shimmering jewel, descended silently. From within stepped a group of gentle beings, with large, soulful eyes and long, slender fingers. They had traveled across the vastness of space, not to cause any alarm, but to simply observe the wonders of our world, particularly the unique plants and flowers. One of these curious visitors, small and round-bellied, with a heart full of wonder, wandered a little too far from his companions, enchanted by the glow of fireflies dancing amongst the trees. As he explored, a most unexpected sight appeared, a cluster of human vehicles, their lights piercing the darkness. These vehicles carried kind but very curious grown-ups, who, upon spotting the spaceship, began to approach. In the sudden hurried departure of his own people, our little friend was accidentally left behind. He was all alone, a long, long way from home, hidden amongst the tall corn stalks, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of Earth. Now, in a cozy house nearby, lived a young boy named Elliot. He felt a little lost sometimes, a bit like our visitor, often searching for something special to fill his days. One evening, when Elliot was sent outside to fetch a pizza, he heard a strange rustling in the backyard shed. His heart gave a little flutter, a mix of apprehension and wonder as he peeked inside. And there, amidst the garden tools, he saw two large, luminous eyes gazing back at him. It was the little visitor from the stars. Frightened at first, both by each other, they shared a moment of quiet understanding. Elliot, with his gentle spirit, left a trail of candy, hoping to coax the creature out. And so it was that the next night, as Elliot lay still in his bed, the little visitor crept into his room. Their eyes met again, and in that silent communication, a deep bond began to form. Elliot, knowing this was a secret to be treasured, showed his new friend all the wonders of his room. The visitor, whom Elliot decided to call E.T. for extra-terrestrial, was fascinated by the fish in the tank, the bright picture books, and all the curious things children keep. E.T. even showed Elliot a tiny bit of his own magic, making a special healing light glow from his fingertip when Elliot hurt himself, and gently levitating some small objects in the room. Elliot knew he couldn't keep such a wonderful secret entirely to himself, so he carefully introduced E.T. to his older brother, Michael, and his sweet, tiny sister, Gertie. Michael was first surprised, then captivated, and promised to keep their extraordinary guest a secret. Little Gertie, wide-eyed and full of innocent joy, at first thought E.T. was a strange creature, perhaps a toy, but quickly grew to adore him, lovingly teaching him human words. She even taught him to say his own name, E.T., in his quiet, unique voice. Their days became a beautiful tapestry, woven with shared discoveries. E.T. learned about Earth by watching television, absorbing stories and words with an amazing speed. He even managed to repeat some of them back to his new friends. One day, he pointed to the stars and then to himself, repeating a phrase he had heard on TV. E.T. home phone. Elliot, with a surge of understanding, realized E.T. desperately missed his own family and wished to return to them. Together, they embarked on a quiet, determined project. E.T., with his extraordinary mind, began to guide Elliot in gathering various items from around the house: an old record player, a coffee can, a shiny saw blade, a speak and spell toy. Piece by piece, these ordinary objects were transformed under E.T.'s direction into a remarkable communication device, a way to phone home. All this while, E.T. and Elliot were becoming so deeply connected that they could feel each other's emotions. When E.T. felt a little wobbly, Elliot felt it too. It was a beautiful, invisible thread binding their hearts. The time for E.T. to try and reach his family arrived on Halloween, a night when strange costumes blended in perfectly with the ordinary world. Dressed in a sheet like a ghostly trick-or-treater, E.T. was gently placed in a basket on Michael's bicycle handlebars. Elliot, guiding the way, cycled deep into the quiet forest, past the rustling leaves and the sleeping trees. There, amongst the towering pines, E.T. set up his device. With his glowing finger, he focused all his energy, and the contraption whirred to life, sending a silent message across the vast, dark universe, a hopeful whisper to his home. After his valiant effort, E.T. seemed to grow very tired. He began to feel unwell, and because of their deep connection, Elliot also started to feel weak and feverish. Their secret, once a joyful bond, now became a source of quiet worry. E.T.'s health declined, his skin turning a pale, sickly color, his heart glowing with a fading light. Sadly, the quiet grown-ups who had approached the spaceship earlier, led by a kind man named Keys, had never stopped looking for their lost visitor. They had observed strange energy signals and followed subtle clues like the peculiar scientific readings Elliot's school had registered. One day, when Elliot's mother, Mary, was away, these quiet grown-ups, wearing protective suits and moving with great care, gently entered the house. They found E.T. lying still, very ill, and Elliot beside him, also unwell. The house was transformed into a place of gentle observation and medical care. Doctors and scientists moved with hushed voices, trying to understand E.T.'s unique biology and help him recover. They placed him in a warm, comforting room, surrounded by monitors that gently hummed, But E.T.'s condition continued to worsen. Elliot, though very sick himself, desperately tried to stay close to his friend, feeling every pang of E.T.'s fading life force. There came a heartbreaking moment when E.T.'s little body seemed to grow completely still. His gentle light dimmed, and the doctors, with quiet sadness, believed he had passed away. Elliot's heart was utterly broken, filled with a deep, quiet sorrow. He sat by E.T.'s side, whispering his love and goodbyes, unable to imagine a world without his dearest friend. But then, as Elliot softly cried, a most miraculous thing happened. E.T.'s heart, which had seemed so quiet, began to glow faintly once more. A beautiful red plant he had been holding, a symbol of life from his own planet, also began to glow with renewed vigor. E.T. was alive. He had simply entered a deep, protective state, and the message he had sent into the stars had been heard. His people were returning for him. With newfound determination, Elliot knew he had to help E.T. reach his spaceship. With Michael and Gertie's brave help, they carefully moved E.T. out of the house, away from the well-meaning but confining grown-ups. Michael, with a powerful burst of courage, gathered all his friends and their bicycles. Together, they embarked on a swift, silent journey through the quiet streets, with E.T. once again in Michael's bike basket. The grown-ups, still trying to understand and help, gently tried to stop them, but the children, fueled by their love for E.T., sped on. And then a truly breathtaking moment occurred. As they raced towards the designated meeting place, E.T., with a surge of his wondrous energy, lifted the bicycle Elliot was riding high into the night sky. They glided above the trees, soaring silently beneath the moon, a magical, unforgettable flight, a symbol of their incredible bond. They reached a secluded clearing in the forest, bathed in the soft, ethereal light of the moon. And there, slowly descending from the heavens, was the magnificent spaceship, shimmering with a gentle, inviting glow. E.T.'s family had returned. It was time for the hardest part of all. Goodbye. Elliot, his heart aching but full of love, gently held E.T.'s hand, remembering all their shared moments. Gertie, with tearful eyes, gave E.T. a potted flower, a symbol of Earth's beauty to take home. Michael watched, a silent guardian, understanding the depth of this farewell. E.T., in his own quiet way, touched Elliot's forehead with his glowing finger, a final tender gesture, leaving behind a profound memory and a promise of lasting friendship. "I'll be right here," E.T. whispered, pointing to Elliot's heart. And then with one last, loving look, E.T. walked towards the ramp of his spaceship. He turned, his silhouette outlined against the shimmering light, and disappeared inside. The ship, a beacon of hope and home, rose majestically into the night sky ascending silently above the sleeping trees, leaving behind only the gentle echo of a whispered promise and the quiet, wondrous memory of a friendship that spanned the stars. Elliot, Michael, and Gertie stood together, gazing up at the twinkling stars, knowing that a part of their hearts would forever travel with their special friend. And as you close your own eyes tonight, my dearest one, remember that sometimes the most extraordinary friendships come from the most unexpected places, leaving behind a warmth that stays with you always. Sleep now with that gentle thought, and dream of soaring high above the trees.